What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, joined by Dilly Vanilli and Kevol. We are here to recap the Kansas City Chiefs' victory to go to 5-0 over the Houston Texans in Houston. A lot to talk about. A couple injuries in regards to Houston and Kansas City that are big injuries, that are major injuries. Travis Kelce went down with a concussion. Of course, you've probably heard by now that J.J. Watt is most likely going to be out for the year. He went in the hospital and something happened to his knee. I don't know the exact injury. Whitney Mercilus got injured. Chris Conley got injured. But let's get past the injuries, which we'll talk about in a little bit. 42-34, the Kansas City Chiefs win this game. A total of 40 points were scored in the fourth quarter to make this game entertaining to the very end. And Kevin Olenek got absolutely screwed in fantasy.
Yes, I am up 22 points. 22 points. And DeAndre Hopkins, who had one catch for 6 yards the entire effing game, gets 2 garbage touchdowns.
You have 3 touchdowns tonight. That's 4 catches.
3 touchdowns. I'm up by 6 and praying that Mitchell Trubisky becomes the next Tom Brady. And for the love of God, the Bears can score 20 points.
I want K Forbath to give me 30 points in fantasy. That's the only way I can win this week. But shit.
All right, so if that happened to you, make sure you're in the comment section. Let us know about how you did in fantasy today, what you thought of the Chiefs, what you thought of the Texans and this game. Also, just give us a like if you would, and if you enjoy this video, and also subscribe to the channel if you're new for recaps just like this one. So 42-34 for Kansas City, like I said. The game started off with a couple field goals from Kansas City going up 6-0 midway through the second quarter. Then we had the first touchdown of the game, which was a pass to Chakandrick West from Alex Smith, the first of 3 for the day for Alex Smith. Then another field goal, which made it 6, then 7, 16-0. Then it was 16-7. Houston gets their first touchdown on the board, first of 5 for Deshaun Watson. Will Fuller the 5th with a 9-yard touchdown. We then have in the advance all the way to the fourth quarter, and then all the points start coming on the board. We get a field goal from Kansas City, another Will Fuller 50-yard touchdown from Deshaun Watson, a DeAnthony Thomas. This counted as a pass. It was kind of like a reverse, and he pitched it forward to him. It counted, I guess. 10-yard touchdown pass from Alex Smith, and the 2-point conversion failed. Punt return by Tyreek Hill, which actually ended up meaning a lot at the end of the game, with an 82-yard punt return by Tyreek Hill. Then a DeAndre Hopkins jump ball. There you go, Kev. 34 yards down the field from Deshaun Watson. Another failed 2-point conversion from Deshaun Watson. Then they had another field goal that they tacked on Kansas City, and Houston scored a 1-yard touchdown from Deshaun Watson at the end of the game with 0 on the clock. If Tyreek Hill wouldn't have returned that punt, that would have maybe tied the game.
Indeed.
So, 42-34 for the Chiefs. They remain undefeated, 5-0. Before we get into stats and the performances and all that jazz, guys, what did you think of this game? Was it entertaining? What did you take away mainly from the Chiefs and the Texans?
All right, first off, Deshaun Watson has thrown 13 touchdowns in 5 games. If you take out his first 2 games, he's thrown 12 in 3
He didn't
games.
play the first game.
He came in the second half of the game.
Okay. He threw 1 touchdown in that game, right?
He threw 1. So take out the first 2 games, he's got 12 in the last 3 games. Ridiculous. This game was interesting. I actually kind of fell asleep in the third quarter, so there you go. But in this game, I was looking forward to seeing if the Texans defense was going to pressure Alex Smith to make some mistakes. That's why I picked the Texans to win. I thought the Chiefs could have easily won this game, and had my predictions gone better this week, I wouldn't have been so mad about it. But I was looking to see this kind of matchup between the defense of the Texans and the offense of the Chiefs, and then also the other way around, because The Texans offense has been getting it up with Deshaun Watson throwing a couple of touchdown passes here and there, and the Chiefs defense kind of being banged up, and they've had their injuries, but they've also been playing pretty well. So I was looking forward to seeing that kind of matchup, and I got what I expected and a little more because Kareem Hunt, again, as Kevo will probably point out, he did a lot in the second half. Another 100-yard game for him. I believe has he had 100 yards in every game so far this season? Yes, okay. I'm getting the confirmation.
This was definitely his worst game, though.
Yes, for sure. He struggled big time in this game. But the key points were that Whitney, Mercilus, and J.J. Watt were out in the first quarter. That was depressing. And J.J. Watt's out for the year. So that's going to hurt the Texans' defense mightily. With Kansas City, they got a lot of injuries for their receivers too. Chris Conley looked like he hurt his ankle.
Apparently, it was official that it was an Achilles.
Achilles, okay. So that's not good. Travis Kelce got a concussion, was in concussion protocol, came back. They took him out for the rest of the game. They cannot afford to lose those pieces, but I still thought it was a good game for them if they get healthy again. And this is a game that, even though they're 5-0 now, they kind of needed to win because they're going to play some I know the NFL's wacky and all, but they're going to play some pretty difficult teams in their division in the next couple of weeks. They play the Steelers, who are not in the division, but they've also played the Raiders and the Broncos the next 2 weeks afterwards. So these are games that they kind of need to win to help themselves out if they have to take a loss or two. So interesting game for both teams. Not a good look for Houston, though, losing J.J. Watt.
First of all, I think in order to start with this game,
who's playing NFL highlights?
I'm playing NFL highlights as we speak, but I'm just going to hit pause. I want to talk to you about a couple of other stats before we get into this.
Okay.
Ben Roethlisberger, 30 for 55, 313 yards, 5 interceptions, 2 pick sixes.
Why are we talking about Ben Roethlisberger? This is Chiefs Texans.
Wait, he threw more touchdowns to the Jaguars than Blake Bortles did.
Russell Wilson his day in LA was 24-37, 198 yards and 1 touchdown. These are one interception that are considered better than Alex Smith. And Alex Smith is 5-0. I think one of the big takeaways that I'm going to take away, I'm not saying Alex Smith is elite, but I think it's time to give Alex Smith a little bit more respect than he is getting right now. He has not turned the ball over all year. All year. In all 5 games, he has not turned the ball over all year. He's making the throws. Houston was coming back. He got Kansas City back in control every single time. Whether it was running, whether it was passing, he is doing the job. I'm not saying that this guy is an elite quarterback, but I do think it's time to give this guy a lot more respect than he has been getting over his career. He's 5-0.
Kev, can I interrupt you to say this? Alex Smith is the MVP right now.
It's either Smith or Hunt.
Probably, yeah. I think it's Alex Smith. I think he proved it in this game because what we were saying is, Kareem Hunt has been great all season long. But like you said, Alex Smith hasn't turned the ball over. Every single time they've needed a score, they got it from him. And he's made big play after big play. He made it in the Redskins game. He made it in this game. He made it in the Patriots game. He's made it in pretty much every single game when they've needed it. And I think early in this game, and we'll get to the individual performances, but starting off with Alex Smith, just in this game early on, he was massive for this team because there was a few big third downs and difficult situations, and he came through, right? So that's the sense of a good quarterback. I think Alex Smith is definitely one of the best quarterbacks playing right now. He's proven it through these first couple of weeks. And the thing with Alex Smith is he's always been a good quarterback, and he's always been able to get the job done to a certain point. But he's never really been able to let it loose, and he's never really been able to be this guy that can win you a football game by himself. And I feel like this season he's done that on a few occasions this year where he has made the plays and he has put the Chiefs in the best situation to win the games in the same way that a Brady or a Rodgers would do that. And I think he does deserve the recognition. And right now I would vote for him as MVP. As crazy as that sounds, I think he is the quarterback, he is the leader, and he is currently playing the best football on the best team in the league.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of people are going to walk away talking about the amazing performance of Deshaun Watson's 5 touchdowns. And he's ridiculous. But I feel, as impressed as you can be with Watson, I feel like Smith is more efficient.
Well, Watson he's young, and he's not even like –
he's raw.
Fifth game. He's raw. He's not used to this, like he's just getting into it. That's why it's so shocking, and it's like, wow, it's like Cam Newton, right? In this first year, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing. Kareem Hunt, I think the big thing that impresses me about Kareem Hunt is 73% of his yards are in the second half. So he got off. He was at 40 yards in the fourth quarter. The Texans were all over him. And then he got that big 30-yard run late. And then he got another one late to put it away, kind of put it away. The Chiefs find ways to make plays at right times. Like, you're right, that Tyreek Hill punt return for a touchdown that seemed ridiculous and a bit too much at the time. And now all of a sudden that was a difference in the game. So they seem to score at right times. And I would be curious to know how many times they've been able to rebound when the opponent has scored to go back and score again. Because I think that's also something that's really impressive. It's sad about J.J. Watt. This is the second straight year that he's lost. He's been lost for the season. He's one of the faces of the NFL, and that's tremendously sad. But I have to tell you that I'm wondering if this Houston Texans defense is a little bit overrated.
We'll get to that. I want to add on to your point about the Chiefs. The reason why they're 5-0 is because they're the best finishing team in the NFL. They start strong, but they also finish really strong. And I think a lot of that is the addition of Kareem Hunt. Like you said, he got a lot of yards in the second half. Let's go through the performances of each team and each of the star players, and then we'll get to like the Texans defense and stuff when that comes up. But Kareem Hunt, 29 carries, 107 yards, 3.7 yards per carry. I didn't think he had a great game. He also added on 3 catches for 9 yards. So not a lot in the receiving game. Typically, he's had a bigger part in that part of the offense as well. But rushing the ball, he was like the Texans did a really good job of slowing him down. It was just when they needed him the most in the fourth quarter, he did his best, finishing those runs and really taking away the time and chewing the clock away from the Texans. And that's what you need to do sometimes. Sometimes you're not always going to have the best opportunity to run straight through a defense every single week. And with a banged up offensive line, it's sometimes difficult. But Kareem Hunt has definitely been the best running back in the league. This was his worst game, though. But, yeah, I still thought he had a decent finish, and that kind of made up for it. Dylan, do you have any comments on Kareem Hunt?
Kareem Hunt has been pretty good. I like seeing the drama here of a third-round pick that was looked at, as a good player, but where is he going to land with Spencer Ware and Tre'Chendrick West being the running backs for so long in that organization, and then or as backups, and then now getting this opportunity because Jamal Charles leaving, and then now making an impact. Good stuff. Tonight wasn't his best game, but I like the performance. I like the hustle. I like seeing him get those yards in the fourth quarter, trying to make it work. And get some production, another 100-yard game for him. Not his best game, probably like you said, his worst game. But if your worst game is still 107 yards, that's still pretty good. And they're still winning football games with it. So. And
I've been impressed with how many carries he's been able to take because he took 29 carries in this game. So that's a lot. So yeah. Receiving-wise, Travis Kelce, 8 catches for 98 yards. He obviously went out with a concussion. This was earlier early in the second half, I believe.
Yeah.
He was having a really good game, and he was eating against this defense. He's obviously been really good this year, and he's probably the vocal point, the biggest part of their passing offense at the very least, maybe even their offense as a whole because of all he can do. and all the different ways that they use him. They use him as a receiver. They use him as an inline tight end. They use him as a running back. So he does a lot for this team. And if he's out for an extended portion of time, that's really going to hurt their offense. As we saw later in the second half, it did have some sort of impact on them, especially in the red zone. So we'll see how that impacts them. And if he's okay, I think he'll be okay. He'll be back at least the week after next week. But if it's any decent concussion, he'll probably be out for a week. But if it's just minor, he could be cleared as soon as this week. But obviously, he had a good game. I'm not the biggest fan of Travis Kelce, the guy, but I think he's still a great player, and he's had a good season, and he's been Alex Smith's go-to guy once again. Any comments on Travis Kelce?
Hopefully it's not an extended amount of time. I don't know how long it's going to be. If it's a concussion, it could be a while, but he's used as one of their biggest threats. He had 8 catches for 98 yards. That was all pretty much in the first half alone with 11 targets, excuse me. So he's used as one of their bigger receivers. And then you look down, the receiving core, other than Tyreek Hill, they're using a lot of other guys in very sparing ways. Like they're not giving them a lot of catches or a lot of deep plays. So they'll use that system to figure out a way to use without him next week probably. But this is an injury I don't want if I'm the Chiefs for longer than a week.
Yeah, he's a big part of their offense. They were able to find ways to get him down the field without him, though. So if you're missing him for a week, it's not a big deal. Even 2 season, it's a huger, longer than I think it would be a huger deal. I think you will need him for Denver.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The next guy is Tyreek Hill, of course. Not an overly explosive game. Of course, he had the punt return, which is a different thing in itself. That was an awesome punt return again. 4 catches, 68 yards. He had one kind of deep one that was challenged. And he was okay. I mean, a lot of it's totally different. I think he has a bigger impact than just his stats because it makes a defense be aware of a guy with that type of speed and that type of ability to get down the field. And it allows the run game to open up. It allows the middle of the field to open up. So he does a lot more than just catch 4 passes. He is that big weapon over the top that can really stress the defense. And I think we saw that a little bit tonight with the corners for the Texans being a little bit off coverage, being kind of soft in that regard. And that's how Travis Kelce was able to eat up in the middle of the field when he was out there. Chris Conley had 3 catches for 46 yards. He's out. It seems like he's going to be out long-term. I'm not sure if it's going to be the season or not, but an Achilles injury is very serious if that's the case. Yep. And that would be an underrated loss to this team because he is the second receiver. And when you look down this depth chart, they don't have a lot of depth at that position as it is. I mean, they have DeAnthony Thomas, who's basically like a running back. Albert Wilson, who's a slot receiver. They could maybe use him a little bit more. They also have a couple other guys like tight ends like Harris and Travis. And like they would have to go a lot more to 2 tight end sets, a lot more to 2 running back sets, and they would have to get even more creative with what they do without Conley because they don't really have another guy like that on the outside. So that would definitely be a big loss, I think. Even though he doesn't have a huge role in the offense in terms of production, it definitely stresses and their flexibility in terms of what sets they can come out in. Do you guys have any thoughts on Conley today? 3 catches, 46 yards.
He made a couple of good catches. When he was targeted, only had 3 catches. But like you said, that's going to be an underrated loss for them considering what you have on this depth chart. If Kelce misses next week, that's going to hurt them because Tyreek Hill's number 1, and then you got to use other guys. What I think is going to help them in this situation is that Andy Reid is very useful when it comes to play calling. I think he'll be able to adjust the setup here of which receiver needs to step up next and what kind of routes they want to run. Because I tweeted out today, it's one of the most fun kind of playbooks to see when they're using different kind of setups compared to the rest of the league.
It's funny hearing a Cowboys fan talk about routes.
Actually, no. Just ask Terrence Williams about that. But yeah, I mean, I like the setup here. I like how the offense runs with Andy Reid being the play caller. And yes, he was an Eagles coach, so I used to watch him all the time, trying to make good play calls. But hopefully if the Chiefs or anything, they'll figure out a way to use stuff without Conley, but it will still be a bigger loss than we might expect.
Yeah, I agree. He's a underrated receiver, and we're going to talk about the defense in a bit, but yeah, that's one of those ones that I personally think could have been avoided, not because of the play, but because of previous plays that could have been avoided. And I'm going to tease you. This is going to be my concern about the Chiefs.
Okay. Let's go to the defense. As Kez said, Ron Parker had 8 tackles. Sorensen had 6.5 a sack. Zombo had 5.5 a sack. Logan, 3 tackles. Justin Houston, 1.5 sacks with 3 tackles. Jones had 0.5 a sack, and Peters had 2 tackles. No interceptions in this game. They did get a fumble recovery in this game. That was it. That's kind of rare for the Chiefs, only 1 turnover. Usually when they win, it's with multiple turnovers for their defense, and that's usually their strong suit for their defense. In this game, looking at the scoring summary again, just to go over it, they held the Houston Texans only to 7 points at halftime. So it was 23-7. Then it was 23-13, and then they scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. Now, I've always not been the biggest fan. I've never been as high on Kansas City's defense as a lot of other people because I think they just give up too many yards. And when they rely on the amount of turnovers that they get against, some mediocre quarterbacks, when they play a good offense with a good quarterback, they usually give up those points and not just the yards. And I think a couple times this season we've seen that happen. And luckily enough for them, their offense has been one of the best in the league where they've been able to score with everybody that they've played so far. But I still think that Kansas City, without Eric Berry and that one weak spot at corner, is kind of concerning. That every team that they've played has just picked on Mitchell every single game. They've gone away from Peters and they've focused on the opposite side of the field, Gaines, Mitchell, and they've attacked those guys. And I just don't think Kansas City's defense is quite as good as a lot of people think. I think they are well-balanced. They're the best team in the league, but I think their offense, if it comes to a game where their offense isn't performing quite the way that they usually are, how is their defense going to respond? So that's just my little bit of a concern, maybe a little bit of a nitpick, but I think, yes, they gave up a lot of points in the fourth quarter, but this was the Texans offense, which is okay. I wouldn't say it's one of the best in the league. What do you guys think about the Kansas City defense?
I think right now the Kansas City defense is a little concerning, but it's going to be more concerning when they're playing some of these bigger teams, especially that game against Denver. I think that's going to be a matchup where they're going to have to try to perform here. I know the Broncos aren't necessarily going to put up a lot of points on you, but that's not only that, they're going to be playing on a Monday night football game. So the stage is set. By the way, how many primetime games have the Chiefs played? It's going to be the third. That's going to be the third one this season. But it's a little concerning. I want to see them play against some interesting teams that they're going to have to face here to step up to the plate. But won't be too bad if their offense, again, 42 points tonight, 29 the week before. They continue to score big. It's going to help them.
Yeah, but what if you don't? That's the problem.
I know that, but I'm just saying it's gonna be difficult for them. I just want to see them compete with some teams like maybe Denver, and then I could get back my
I don't. With all due respect to Andy Reid and his offense, I don't see 40 points. Kansas City scoring 40 on Denver. I'm not saying that they will lose to Denver necessarily, but I don't see them getting 40 points on Denver. And that's where I
don't see anyone scoring 40 points on Denver.
No.
I don't know if Denver will give up 40 points. I'm just kidding. But that's the thing that I'm a little bit concerned about. So far, they've found a way to make this work. But that Hopkins-Mitchell play was disconcerting because Hopkins won that ball battle. That was a tie ball and Hopkins won. So that's concerning. I think it ended up costing because Houston went with the onside kick. You lost another receiver. I think they bend. I think bending but don't break leads you to breaking more often than not. So I'd like to see this Chief defense be a bit more stuffy than they are right now. And I think you can pick on a few areas on this defense. And if you if you can protect and you can get to that secondary, I think that they can be had. But, like, kudos to the Chiefs for getting to 5-0. And yes, I think they're the number one team right now in the NFL and all of that. But if there's an area that you can take them down, that would be, I would say, the first one.
I want to bring up a comment here from Mr. Bodo that says, wait a minute, Mitch is chastising a team for giving up too many yards on defense. Oh, and Mitch left. Okay.
Mitch was done.
He was like, no, you can't talk about the defense. No. I guess since Sophie hopefully he gets back in the next 5 minutes because he's the one on stream. But I guess we'll talk about the Texans offense for a minute because we talked about the Chiefs defense. Deshaun Watson, 16 of 31, 261 yards, 5 touchdowns. I know Mr. Kevil's a little pissed about probably 2 of those touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And they did come in a little bit of garbage time, no doubt about that. But it's interesting. He's put up 10 touchdowns in the last 2 games, which is pretty crazy in itself against the Texans or against the Chiefs and the who did he do it to? The other team is the Titans.
Yeah.
So 2 teams that we had in the playoffs for sure. I didn't, but a lot of people did. So maybe some jump ball situations, not very solid, but. Kev, what did you think about Deshaun Watson? He played he made a couple of good throws, but he also showed the rookie mistakes that we've been kind of anticipating him to see.
He didn't throw an interception, did he? No, he didn't.
No, that was good. He only got the fumble in the second quarter, I think. So
that was it. I'm showing no fumbles.
Oh, I thought Mitch
fumble.
There's a fumble. Oh, I'm sorry. It was a fumble by Foreman. It wasn't by Watson.
They couldn't get anything going in the first half. I think the Watt injury took a lot out of the entire team. But when this guy goes, it's fun to watch for sure. Like, it's just raw, street level QB. I'm just going to throw it out there and hope for the best. I'm going to find ways to do this. It's going to look ridiculous. He's exciting. He's raw. I wouldn't say he's overhyped necessarily. It's just.
I mean, if you throw 10 touchdowns in 2 games, I don't know if you're overhyped.
Yeah,
he does need to fix some couple of things. I will say that much.
Yeah, and if you score 92 points in 2 games or 90 points in 2 games, I think you're doing okay.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I think overall the big thing for Houston's offense is they need to be they had the ball for 21 minutes and 43 seconds tonight. They need to be on a little bit longer. They were able to stretch the field late, but and Watson found ways, but I think they need to be a bit more patient. And I think they could use the running game a bit better than they did tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the run game here. We had Lamar Miller go 15 carries, 74 yards. Dante Foreman had 4 carries for 34 yards. He did that really one good run for 25 yards, but that was it. Sean Watson made a couple of runs with his feet, 3 carries for 31 yards. And Fuller got a run as well. Running game, I think, for Houston's actually been pretty difficult this season. I know we were talking about Lamar Miller being like a player to look forward to and kind of see what he was going to bring to the table, but they've been having 50 to 75-yard rushing games this year with him, and they haven't been all that explosive with it. I don't know how you feel about that. That's kind of a weakness of this team if you're talking about the run team.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, Foreman was 4 for 34.
Yep. I'm going to try to connect to the bottom line view. Oh, okay. There you go. There he is. He's back. I have no idea what happened.
My computer died, and then I had to restart it, and yeah.
You got back in good time, though, because we're still live. We were just talking about the run game of Houston.
Okay, yeah. First off, on Deshaun Watson, I was listening to you guys while you were talking. Watson, I think, like Kev said, kind of he's playing that backyard football, which I think opens up the Texans a lot more. And I said before the season, I made a video on why Deshaun Watson should be starting for the Texans. And one of the reasons why is because he can open up their offense a little bit more with all that they can do. And I think this has raised Bill O'Brien's game as an offensive mind. He's been a lot more creative with what they do in the run and the pass game. We saw tonight that they made a game plan to have that guy, that receiver come across or tight end come across. So Collinsworth was showing it a lot so that they could run that inside zone run play. And Lamar Miller had a decent game. He's been benefiting off of this. Foreman's been good. And I think the big thing since getting Will Fuller back last week, it's really opened their offense up a lot. He's able to go deep, and he's taking advantage of the second corner on a lot of these teams, as he did last week against Tennessee and as he did this week. I think Will Fuller's been a big addition as well, as you guys will also get to. And for the run game, like I said, I just think like with Watson in there, it opens their run game up a little bit more. Their offensive line's been more effective, and it's been easier to block for him. He's not a statue like Savage is. So I like what the Texans are doing on offense. I would like to see them be a little bit more consistent, but it's going to be tough for them to be consistent with the rookie quarterback and with the team that doesn't have a ton of weapons. They have a good, I would say a top 12 receiver maybe in Hopkins, and then you have a pretty talented guy in Fuller, and you have a good running back duo. But besides that, this isn't one of the best offenses in the league, but they can spark in certain games, and we've definitely seen it these last couple of weeks. If the Texans continue to play this way, and if their defense gets back on track a little bit, I think that their defense was also hurt by some emotion, just pure emotion, because they lost Watt, their leader. So if they can get back on track a little bit, they should be able to find their way into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the Watt injury affected the offense too. I think it affected the entire team. I think that just the air of the stadium went out. Overall, that was really unfortunate, which when we get into the Texans defense, I guess. But I was also saying, Mitch, I think you need to do better than 20 minutes of possession time. If you're the Houston Texans, they had the ball for 21 minutes and 53 seconds, I believe.
That's something that the Chiefs have been doing all season long. They've been holding that ball, and they've been really efficient with the clock, and they've been able to go long drives, which is very hard to do. And that definitely says that they're a good offense. But for the Texans, I think that that's just part of their game. I think if their defense wasn't overrated, like we're going to say they are, I think this team would be one of the best in the league. But because their defense hasn't quite performed to the way that we thought it would, their quick strike offense isn't really helping them. You know what I mean? Because with Watson in there and with those receivers, they're able to go down the field very quickly, and he's able to scramble and stuff like that. And almost in a way that the Seahawks early in the Russell Wilson years would kind of be a quick strike offense. They wouldn't necessarily go long drives, but they would have big plays. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing with the Texans offense right now. It's just that their defense hasn't quite lived up to the billing of being one of the best in the league.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. I don't think the Texans they're not terrible they don't have terrible weapons. They have solid weapons. They're not the best.
Yeah, they're okay. They're in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
Man, I was just looking at – I'm sorry. This is going to be off topic. But I was just looking at the Giants receivers and how all three of their starting receivers could be out next week.
And Harris is out too.
Yeah. For the season. Yeah. He's out for the season. Odell's out for the season. Sterling has an ankle injury that'll take him out for 2 weeks. And looking at Brandon Marshall, his injury is looking to be 7 to 10 days out, so they don't want him to play next week. They're amazing.
Done.
I didn't say they were going to play anything good. I'm just pointing that out.
Chargers to the playoffs.
No. No. Good win for them.
Against them every week. Hey,
so I was very happy. I was very happy that they won today's game. You
can thank me for picking against them.
I picked them. So, wait, who do they play next week? I want to see who they play next.
Who knows?
They play somebody good. I'm going to be a little sad. They play.
All right, Kev, you had something to say about this defense.
I think, we went into the season and we were like, well, they didn't have J.J. Watt and they were still a number one defense. And now they have J.J. Watt and they're like, they got to be better with J.J. Watt. Like, it's just simply, he's one of the best defensive players in the game. and I understand that the emotional loss of J.J. Watt, that's huge. But I also think when your team is fighting back, you got to make a stop. You've got to make that the third quarter, that Kareem Hunt 30-yard run, the 20-yard run late when they were containing Kareem Hunt and he broke those two. I think we're backbreakers for this game. I think that the touchdown, when they got within a score, or they got within one score before Kansas City broke it out open again with two straight. That was they needed that stop and they didn't get it. And that's where I'm like, maybe this defense is a bit not what we think. They have some talent, but I don't know if they're right. I don't think this defense is as good as it was last year. JJ,
no. I think the biggest loss that they lost a couple guys in the secondary, but the biggest one is AJ Bouye, which we've seen the impact on with him with Jacksonville, and he appears to be one of the best corners in the league, and that's a huge loss. As we've seen with some teams in this league, when you have a number one corner, that is maybe the most important defensive player you can have. That or a top-tier pass rusher, because when you have that one corner, it allows your whole defense to work around that, and it basically shifts the offensive focus entirely from one side of the field, right? Yeah. So I think that's huge. That's a massive loss that they lost, because they can count on one corner to at least take away that one guy on that other team, and then they can focus the rest of their defense to shape shift around the other receivers and the other weapons. And without Bouye, I think we're seeing the impacts of their secondary not being as good.
It looks like we're in the wild here. We're seeing a wild Adam on the YouTube channel.
Adam.
No, you guys all picked, just own up the fact that you all thought the Texans were going to win this game, and then I heard
why were we discrediting that we were going to do that?
No. But I think I want to say this. I thought the Texans were going to win because I thought Mercilus and Watt were going to play. God damn it. They only played 5 plays. So
I think if you look at this game, it's really hard to say shoulda, woulda, coulda. If these guys played, well, they didn't, and things happen. And regardless of who was playing, the Chiefs still scored 40 points. But I just want to quickly get on this thing about this Watson train that's going on right now. First of all, he only threw for 51%. Yes, he made some good throws in the fourth quarter. He had 2 key drives that he went 3 and out.
This is the guy that said Tom Savage was better and should be starting.
In the preseason, who looked better? Sorry, did you guys watch the preseason? Who looked better in the preseason?
I made a video, though, that said Watson should start.
100%, but who looked better in the preseason? That's what I based the initial thing off. Who looked better in the preseason? Savage.
In moments.
Savage had better stats and looked better in the preseason.
But Watson was more electric, though.
For sure. Okay. But anyways, I agree, Watson, but I still want to just say this. He had 2 drives after Casey scored that he went 3 and out and didn't look very good. Those are drives you have to have. Now let's go to all his garbage time, touchdowns, and points. You want a freewheeling offense like that? No one is going to – Bill O'Brien does not want that offense in the fourth quarter in garbage time, because no coach is going to have you throwing it up to receivers every single time. Those easily could have been picked off, knocked down. Those aren't 50-50 balls. Those are 25% chance to catch. And luckily they were on the receiving end. That normally doesn't happen. Offenses don't play that style and throw it up like that all the time. They did it in the fourth, yeah, because they were down 19 points and the game was already over. I'm just saying I don't think there's enough credit to what KC's doing from all 3 of you guys right now. All I heard was nitpicking about this and that about the KC Chiefs.
Did you not hear me say that Alex Smith had?
Yeah, we said Alex Smith's MVP.
I 100% the offensive thing, but what you were continuing to say and then nitpicking about the defense.
No, because it's not that good. It's not.
It's good enough.
No, are the Chiefs going to be able to score 40 points every game?
The only thing
but Watson's, they're not going to give up 21 points in garbage time. That doesn't happen.
Was it garbage time? Was it garbage time? If Tyreek Hill doesn't return a punt, was it garbage time?
They're winning. They didn't take their foot off the pedal. They're in a situation.
I know we said that they were great with finishing the game on offense, but not defense. You got to say that their defense did not finish the job.
Because their defense is up 19, and you have a team just dropping back and throwing bombs every single play.
Last year, you would have said, "Oh, the Patriots defense can't finish the game."
Why did I say this? Now why does it always have to bring up the Patriots with you?
Because you're like, oh, the almighty Andy Reid. He's won 0 Super Bowls. He's the greatest coach of all time.
Dude,
and that.
You bringing up the Patriots every single thing is getting so annoying to every single one of us because no one cares. We want to talk in the present. We want to talk about 2017. No, we don't need to talk about the Patriots again last year. I know you have some macho bravado thing you need to do with talking about the Patriots.
No, I'm just saying be consistent. Be consistent.
No,
you can't just praise the Chiefs every step of the way.
When you start losing, you got to start bringing up the Patriots 24/7, and it's fine. It's your shtick. But I don't think you need to bring the Patriots when we're talking about the 2017.
You haven't said one negative thing about the Chiefs all year. Not one.
Well, it's hard to.
Yeah, you haven't said one negative thing about the Washington Redskins.
Yeah,
they're 5-0. How can I say something negative? Exactly. Thank you, Kevin.
And if you are counting at home, that is argument number 64 between Adam and Mitch.
I'm saying that, like, he's critical of teams that beat his teams and that could be taking that fans and not. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, dude.
I'm gonna take KC's side on this point. You do say the Patriots a lot on this side.
Exactly. Huh? And any team. Yeah. See. Any team that the rest of the NFL can go around being like they're the best team, and if they're not the Patriots, you've done it in other sports too. If they're not the Patriots, you don't like them. Hockey, any other team that's not the Penguins, you don't like the Blackhawks because
the cup.
No, I know, but you don't like the Blackhawks. You always hate on the Blackhawks because
no, I don't. I just hate Tate. I like the Blackhawks. I hate Tate.
No, you hate on them because they were the ones that their team was like, that's the best dynasty. So anyone that gets really close to your teams, you take them down a notch as much as you can. This is true, man. I'm like, look at Dilly. He knows it, dude. I'm just talking the truth here. It needed to be said.
Not true. I just don't like the Andy Reid bias here. I don't like it.
The Andy Reid,
they're 5-0. Super Bowl, bro. Win a fucking Super Bowl. How about that?
See, there's another point to the face.
Exactly. Like I said before,
Seahawks. Pete Carroll won a Super Bowl. Come on.
Like I said before, with fans that can't always win championships, teams of fans that don't win championships, but you're still
John Gruden
root for that team. They'll take Andy Reid's career and Andy Reid coach team.
I'd rather have the Super Bowl, to be honest.
Percent of the time.
I'd rather be Tom Coughlin.
This is what they call a shoot in the industry.
I'd rather be Tom Coughlin.
I'd rather not. I'd rather not.
You'd not rather have Super Bowls than Andy Reid.
Yeah, but Andy Reid's still coaching. It's not like there's not time to win.
Your name's in the record book.
What I'm saying, you've been a fan for the Patriots for 10 years since you were whatever. It's not a big deal. We know why you're a Patriots fan. I'm just saying that you haven't.
Coughlin is in the book 2 times. Andy Reid is in 0.
Okay, when you cheer for a team for 20 years,
so Eli Manning's to go.
Okay, he is. You would take 2 Super Bowls and 18 losing miserable seasons.
Yes.
Would you do that?
Yes.
I disagree with you. I would not want that. I'll take 10-6, 11-5, and no Super Bowls for 20 years all day long.
That's why you're an Eagles fan.
You know how many miserable dude? You're only a Patriots fan because somehow you were 7 years old and saw football on the TV and was like, look at the team holding the trophy. Let's be that fan. Like,
okay, Mitch,
I was 6 years old, bro. What do you want me to do?
I know, but I'm just saying that's still like that. You know, I would like a better story than that. That's all.
Mitch did get on the scoreboard. It's 64-1 in this contest of this video. He did get 1 point.
I can't be on that.
No.
Eagles fan because he doesn't win any Super Bowls.
No, I'm not. Dude,
exactly.
I care less about the Super Bowls, man.
That was the 1 point. That was 1.
Yeah, that was a great point. That's always. And then wait, Mitch. Where's the Mitch? That's the only one that matters.
What?
The Super Bowl thing. That's the thing. Normally go. That's the only point that matters. The Super Bowl.
Super Bowl only matters.
But then you hype up Wes Welker.
Teams, coaches, organizations. Super Bowls matter.
And then you hype up Wes Welker like he's the best.
And players is a different conversation. Players are in the Hall of Fame without Super Bowls.
And Andy Reid's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but
No
he's
question.
not one of the greatest coaches of all time.
No, who said he was one of the greatest coaches of all time?
You have.
When have I said he's the greatest coach of all time? I have not said
Not
that.
the
Man.
greatest, one of the greatest.
I've never heard him say that either.
Yeah, but he's definitely a top 25 coach of all time.
Yeah.
Like he's like 22 or something.
Okay. I'll give you that. 22.
Or I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but okay. That's all I wanted to say is that KC.
Where are these comments?
You guys basically have bet against most people have been betting against KC since the beginning of the season.
I just want to see them win
losing.
the Super Bowl. I'm waiting.
Well, I know, but it's easy to say that when you're just used to, like, you think it's just so easy to win Super Bowls because
it's not. It's not. But they're 5-0. That's great. That's phenomenal. How many teams have been 5-0 and not won the Super Bowl?
A lot.
The Cowboys were 5-0 last year, right?
No, I know. A lot of teams don't win the Super Bowl being 5-0.
Oh, they lost the first game. Never mind.
Only one team can win out of 32 teams. And it's super tough. Like, you can have one bad game and it's over for you. I'm just saying. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. I just think there should be credit of a good team.
We have
in the last 4 years.
You haven't been on the video.
You picked them not to make the playoffs, dude. You picked them not to make the playoffs.
I picked the Chiefs to make the playoffs.
I did as well, but you did not.
No,
pick
yes, I
to make
did.
The playoffs. No,
yes,
you didn't.
I did. Yes,
no?
I picked them to win the division. Go back to watch the video.
You had Denver and Oakland and Chargers all in the playoffs.
I had Denver winning the division. I
had Kansas City winning the division. Now, I didn't have them as one of the best teams, but I had them winning the division.
I disagree.
Go back and watch the video. I edit every video. So
let's hold on. No, we're gonna figure this out because I want to figure this out. AFC West here. Let's go to the predictions. By the way, I will say I did not have them in the playoffs. I will say that. Let's go here. That's
I made the poor call on the Chargers, but that was just biased because I love the Chargers. But I picked the Chiefs to win the division.
Extremely poor call. Mitch had him at 10-6. Mitch had him at 10-6. He had the Broncos at 7-9. Had the Chargers at 10-6. And
9-7.
On the video, it says 10-6. And the Raiders literally says 10-6. And Raiders 8-8. So
it's 3 teams at 10-6. So I think you didn't give the Chiefs their due at the beginning of the season. You're still not giving the due now.
I had them winning the division.
Well, you had 3 teams at 10-6. So what was your tiebreak? Take us through your tiebreak scenario.
Well, no, I
had the Chiefs winning the division.
He had 2 because he had Raiders at 8-8 and Broncos at 7-9.
Yeah, I made a bad call on the Broncos. I think they're a good team.
I'm just saying that you're a Chiefs hater, man.
I just want to see them do something first. They've been in this situation the last 5 year. We're acting like this is something new. This is not new. This is the same Chiefs every year. They're always good. Man.
Dude, when the Patriots go 2-2, we always hear, "Oh, the Patriots won this, blah blah," and it's this. You bring up the past. Like, let's start thinking about the future,
talking about the past with the Chiefs too. They've been good every year with Andy Reid. They've made the playoffs. They've been a good team. I just want to see them take that next step.
Statistically, this offense has not been seen on a Kansas City Chiefs.
That's true. I think this offense is a lot better, but I think that their defense needs some work. Is that fair?
TMB with AC's help.
Same as the Patriots defense. I've been saying that for weeks. Dylan,
it's not the same as the Patriots defense, dude. What are you talking about? How is it the same?
I mean, they both need work. Not that they're the same.
I think one defense needs a lot more work because I think when your defense likes the Chiefs, when you're up by multiple scores every game.
Yeah, but are they going to be up by multiple scores every game?
They have been.
What happens when they fall behind?
They have come back.
Their defense has proven to make stuff.
I looked into that because that was a question I had in my head, but they've come back so far. They were down 10 to Redskins. They came back.
And their defense made enough stops, right? Their defense is able to make big stops when it matters every single time for 5 games straight.
Okay.
I'm just
waiting for the playoffs. That's it.
This is just me
waiting for the playoffs. What we do is talk about the regular season. If every single week you're going to sit here and say we're waiting for the playoffs.
Good. I know they're good, and I know they're one of the best teams. I just want because they've been one of the best teams every year.
I just think, to me,
They were 12-4 last year. Okay.
Man,
to me,
this was almost as entertaining as last night. Shit.
Yeah. What happened last night? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't say that.
What to me, my concern is
Billy, go to bed.
Would have liked to see the Chiefs make that stop instead of letting. I felt they let the Texans back into the game. I think allowing that touchdown allowed for the Conley injury, which I do think is going to hurt the team going forward. I just think they should. I would have liked to have seen them not allow 34 points.
No, and I agree with you in that, but I also you guys are you watch some plays and be like, that maybe could not have happened. There were a lot of those deep ball passes that are not 50% chance plays.
Oh, I just woke up. Oh, you guys are still in this argument? Okay.
Those aren't 50% plays. You know what I mean? Those are 30-60% plays.
You know who made a career and a living out of 30 to 60% plays? Brett Favre.
It's true.
Okay, so now Watson's Brett Favre. Okay.
No, I'm not saying Watson's Brett Favre, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I think the guy has a lot of moxie. He has some raw talent. He needs to get it refined, obviously. But the guy has 10 touchdowns in 2 games. You can't take that away from him.
No. I'm just talking about the defensive side. Is the KC defense, if they could have it over again, they knock away 2 of those 3, and we're looking at like a 20-point victory and saying the Chiefs defense played better. The Chiefs only allowed 200 yards in the first 3 quarters. 200 total yards, first 3 quarters. They allowed what? Almost 200 in almost the fourth quarter.
Well, what I said about Kansas City earlier on is I'm concerned with what injuries they've got lying on the field. Yeah. And I like what they brought to the table.
Kelce will be okay.
I like what their offense has shown. Obviously, Kareem Hunt has been outstanding. I just, some of these matchups that I see here in the next couple of weeks.
They should beat the Steelers. They freaking suck.
The Steelers are garbage, but you go play the Raiders. If they get Derek Carr back, that might be even more interesting. Then they play Denver. I don't know. I'm still very high on them. Be good. I've given them the ranking of number 1, and I picked the Chiefs in every game except for this week, just because I thought of the defense and the Patriots, which I will guarantee 100% pick the Patriots every week on week 1 in that situation. So I'm just putting that out there.
No, and I heard what you guys said about Denver. Great team, but also a mediocre Bills team put 26 points up on Denver.
But it's in the same way of the NFL this season, where the Bills also lost this week to the Bengals.
Yeah. So, the NFL is too inconsistent.
Well, I know, but I'm just and I just like to promote the team that has been the most consistent by far.
Well, and that's why I still got the Chiefs as the number 1 team in football.
Yeah, everybody here does.
And I think they've been solid. There's just obviously with every team, there's weaknesses and there's struggles, and we're going to highlight those. And I think going farther on in the season, if they continue to highlight and make bigger impacts on this team, they could be maybe successful and still make the playoffs and win their division this year. Then they're going to have to do that in the playoffs against teams that are going to be better when that time comes. That's just what I'm putting out there.
No, and that's very well said, Dylan. I appreciate that.
No problem.
That's exactly what I was saying, but whatever.
No, you weren't, dude. You're talking about the Patriots. As soon as you start talking about the Patriots, I said we're going to be fair and talk about the goods and the bad,
like we do every team.
No, I know, but like you started off like ragging on the Chiefs, being like their defense, it's going to be a problem, and like didn't even.
I was just using it as a comparison. Do you want me to use the Eagles as a comparison now?
No, not at all.
Okay, I'll use the Eagles every time. How about that?
No, not at all. I don't I don't think you can compare it that way.
Okay. I'll use the 2004 Eagles as the comparison every single time I talk.
Oh, the audio for Mitch. Shit. Now, the argument's done. Your audio.
I like Chiefs fan said, dude, keep saying Chiefs the Chiefs, but we are 5-0. We haven't lost yet, so shut up. We're fine, and half our team is injured. Boom. Totally agree with you, Chiefs fans.
Is my audio okay?
No, it's shuffling now.
No, I just need to get in here and bring a little flair, because I just, when you guys 3 go at it, sometimes it's just agreeing with each other and saying the same points. So I got to be like the comment section and get in there.
I was just putting out
And we got to have different opinions, and we got to go after each other.
You guys is entertaining. That does bring the entertainment here. We are
get a profile picture popcorn because it was entertaining.
All right, man. I just remembering yesterday. Bring it over here again. I mean, it was all good. It was all fun. Any more comments about this game?
Can you read the comments?
Well, it's been a lot of arguing, but as well as this chat. But yes, I can. I'm
ready for the haters. I'm ready.
Bodo said, "Well, this is okay. We're gonna start off with comments."
the August calendar up, by the way. I haven't been here since August.
We're gonna start with comments before AC joined in. Bodo says there was football today. Someone tell Pittsburgh. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Of course, Russell Wilson wants to talk about the Rams and the Seahawks. Look, I still like what the Rams are bringing to the table. I still don't think the Seahawks are all that good. If Cooper Kupp makes that catch, this team is down 2 games in the division, has not looked strong against some of the teams in the league that are also very inconsistent, and then they're going to have to play, a relatively easy schedule. But again, playoff time, not sure. That's how I feel about that.
Okay.
Let me comment here.
Russell Wilson is overrated.
Let me say a few things. I liked that the defense created some turnovers. I think that was huge. Jimmy Graham finally got a touchdown. That was nice. This offense is complete doo-doo. It's complete crap.
Yep. Is 26 points the most they've scored this season? Was that with that game against Seattle?
No, it was 46 last week against Indianapolis. Remember?
That's right. But I mean, said that.
Can we screen capture some of these comments?
Rams channel is going off on. He's like, "Fuck Seahawks. They got so lucky. We're still winning the NFC West, bitch." Yes, very very nice. Everybody's taking shots at each other. So
I think the winner of the NFC West might be like 9-7.
Hey,
don't know.
Take
let's
it.
see. Again, more comments out there.
Did we see the Barry Church hold my dick?
No, did not. No, I didn't. Where is that at?
that was the touchdown. The Marshawn Lynch hold my dick. He did that on the pick 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's funny. Maybe I was just sleeping that. Let's see here. Russell Wilson. I didn't say that I'm rooting for the Seahawks to go to the Super Bowl, but this trash Rams fan is on my team's dick, and I got to spread a little facts. See, I like these comments. They're going at each other almost a little harder than this. TMB says, and I quote, "Mitch sipping that haterade." Clark says, "Andy Reid."
I'll be right come playoff time. I can't wait for that too.
Andy Reid is one of the best coaches without
a day that the Patriots are done. The dynasty's over.
I can't wait till the Chiefs lose in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me at all because I'm just saying they're a good team right now. If they have a bad game in the playoffs, they obviously don't deserve. But I'm right here, right now. And if they can keep it up, they're looking good. If they can't, then so what?
My whole point is they're great right now, but they're not going to be in the playoffs. That's my whole point. But okay.
I just think that's looking like way too far when we're a thing that we like to go back and forth and analyze the game week to week.
They're to not make the playoffs, Mitch. Don't be ridiculous.
I said they're going to make the playoffs. I said, how are they going to do in the playoffs? That's my point.
No, well, you did say not make the playoffs. That was just
when did I say that?
You just said that like 15 seconds ago.
Like 15 seconds ago.
I mistakenly said that then because I picked them to make the playoffs before the year. Now they're even better, and I picked them to be.
I know. We're correcting what you said. We're just trying to figure out that. T. Clark says Andy Reid is one of the best coaches without a championship. He created a great type offense. Reggie Miller and Charles Barkley didn't win championships, but still Hall of Famers. Not all about titles. Also, Robert Horry is a 7-time NBA champion, still not a Hall of Famer. Just saying. That is still the point of AC.
I think Robert Horry.
I think championships is huge for coaches. That's all I'll say.
I know, but I'm just saying, if you look at all the coaches,
he'll probably make the Hall of Fame, but
there are very few coaches in the Hall of Fame that have more than they have multiple Super Bowls, right? But if you still, even those coaches with one, and you look at their career record against Andy Reid's record, he blows them out by, 60, 70 games. And I think that should say something about building teams, making teams better from scratch with mediocre quarterbacks.
Shout out to the boy Jimmy Johnson. Let's see here. Trim Hit says Texans got their explicit. This is more than a PG. Ass cheeks spread apart. Okay, interesting. The TMB says the New York Giants are pretty consistent in sucking. I'm telling you right now, guys.
Right now,
I don't understand why they didn't go and try to get a quarterback. They need to get a quarterback in this draft next year.
they should have drafted Trubisky.
I still want to see what he does. Will not say anything until tomorrow though.
Go Bears.
Adam McIntyre, fuck no. Go Vikings.
Yeah, Kev wants the Bears.
Chiefs gonna crush this. If you switch your picks, I'll help you go. Adam McIntyre.
They're not confident enough, and they're gonna keep on going to the bottom. That's what they do.
I haven't
You try to go against the house, man. I'm the house. I'm the house right now, and let me tell you something. The house always wins.
I'm only 2 games behind.
No, because Kev needs the Bears to light up the Vikings, or he's gonna lose in fantasy.
Adam McIntyre, great comment. Chiefs are going to, and I quote,
Can I screen capture that? Can I please screen capture that?
I don't care.
Can I?
This is a free country. I don't care.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
But if the Patriots can't score 40 points every game, it's going to be tough for that defense to help them out.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, shit, in agreement. Let's see. Bodo says Pittsburgh needs to tank. Fire Tomlin. Make Ben retire this week. That class of 04 feels like they're the class of 1994 because do they move? Are they quarterbacks? I know Eli had lost all 3 of his receivers today. But
did I actually hear Ben say, I don't have it anymore today? Did I hear that?
He might have.
Did he say that?
I swear I heard him say that.
He said it as more of a dig to the media and whatnot. He's just like, maybe I don't have it anymore. Like,
he's a
next question.
Dick. That's why. He's one of the most underrated things about Ben is he's one of the worst leaders in the entire league. One of the worst. He's just a giant dick. That's what he is.
I love these.
He's won Super Bowls though. How can you win?
Yeah, because of his defense.
But he's apparently was the leader. If you watch the football, a lot of them, the football thing or whatever, about the Super Bowls, they talk about Ben, how much they meant to his team. So I don't know. Maybe they're lying.
Kev, would you like to interject?
No. I'm just saying what they said.
Well, Kev would say that he won a Super Bowl because of the refs.
No, he would say Super Bowl 40. Screw this. No, I kidding. No. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Rams fan and Kev Nara going at it. I think it's funny. Whoever says, Jesus, they're going off by the Chiefs. So yeah, I think that about does it. There's no more comments here. I will say this was a highlight for me. Last 2 days have been eventful in completely different ways, but I was entertained in very similar. In a
would you like to share, Dylan? Because you like to brag about what happened last night. So go ahead. Tell the bottom line viewers.
I became Adam. I became Apple Juice Adam, and it just I can't express it here. Not allowed to. But if I was, let's say I'm in Canada, I could just bring it over. But it was a great night. And then watch some football. Honestly, I would if I could have changed anything. I'd only changed one. I would have changed the Cowboys game. But still feeling good.
Can you talk about the Cowboys? The fuck.
Okay. Here's the thing. I always hate Packers games. I do it every single year.
Aaron Rodgers owns your building.
No, he owns our defense. Our defense is fucking shit. And here's the thing. I want them to go up to the Cowboys organization tomorrow. And Jerry Jones is like, all right, let's go down to people we need to release. Jeff Heath, Terrence Williams, and the rest of the freaking defense minus the defensive line. We can't play defense. Our offense is solid. Again, minus Terrence Williams. Where the fuck is Bryce Butler? But our defense can't stop my dog. They can't. They can't stop nothing. They're trash. And when Aaron Rodgers goes out there, you give him too much time on the clock, he's going to go score. He owns the Arlington Stadium. He owns AT&T Stadium. He's 3-0 there, including winning a Super Bowl there. He won two of the hardest games I've had to see in 2017, and it's shit. But he's a great quarterback. That's why you got to get the trust from him. So I'm not going to take that away from him. But fucking hell, me at the 1 yard line, waste as much time off the clock. Cowboys defense was going to be the struggle of the season. What I'm hoping for is to go 4-4 through 8 games because we have a bye week next week. Play the 49ers the week after. Play the Redskins.
Y'all going 7-9, bro.
No.
And there's still the appeal, right? That we'll know this week because Zeke's 6-game suspension could start the week after the bye.
I honestly don't think it's going to start until after the season. I don't.
No, I'm saying, but the NFL could have left it alone, but the NFL went back to the courts of appeal and was like, "We appeal your appeal."
I know it's a very
waited till after the season.
It's a very stubborn process, but we'll see. And then they play the Chiefs. So I've got them at 4-4 right now. I don't know. The Cowboys season. Look, I mean, even if this team does survive and play and even get a wild card situation, we can't stop anybody. What's going to happen if we play the Eagles for a third time? If we're going to have to stop Carson Wentz from throwing.
Played the Eagles yet, so let them play the Eagles first, and then.
Why? I'm telling you, Week 10, if the Eagles play the way they do, it's going to be an offensive versus offensive matchup. I'm not saying the
Cowboys will win because I don't think they will, but at least let them play them first.
It's an offensive versus offensive matchup. I still want the Cowboys to win. I'm not going to cheer for them, but just like Mr. Kev did with his pick this week, he picked the Rams because that's who he was smart about. Now, did they win? No, but
was I the only one that took the Hawks?
Yeah, you were.
Unless they're for Anthony.
What's his name? Anthony.
I don't know about Mr. Anthony. But yeah, that's just how the Cowboys are. It's not going to be it's going to be an ugly season. That's all I'll say about that.
All right, guys. I think we'll
leave you. But
at the
end of the day, it is a game.
I think we'll leave you there. Chiefs, Texans, 42-34 for the Chiefs. They advanced to 5-0, the only undefeated team in the NFL. And as we said, and as I said, Alex Smith, MVP right now, ? We'll see. Next week, they play the Steelers. That's going to be a good game. Who do the Texans play?
J.J. Watt.
Huh?
We didn't talk about J.J. Watt.
Yeah, we did. He's done. He's out for the year. Let the media talk about, he's going to the hospital and making more commercials and blah, 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 blah.
The Texans are going to be helped out. They're playing the Browns next week. And then they go to a bye and then play the Seattle Seahawks.
Does Deshaun Watson throw another 5 touchdowns against the Browns?
6. No, I'm kidding. Maybe if he watch that game. If we know the NFL this year, watch that game where he throws 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions and the Browns win the game.
If Deshaun Watson throws 5 touchdowns on the Browns, someone is going to get fired in Cleveland.
They should be
because they could have picked him.
Yeah.
So.
Oh God! And then they go Kaiser, which they thought was a smart move since we're not picking a quarterback in the first round. We're going to go with the second round. Oh God!
All right.
That's how it works.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, right. If you enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for more NFL content. And I can't wait for the Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl this year, brought to you by AC Productions. Until then, it's Mitch, AC, Dilly, and Kev. Peace.